Writing and creativity requires a level of vulnerability and emotion that I feel like a lot of guys don't access or aren't good at accessing. How did you get to a place where you felt comfortable being vulnerable and being emotional and accessing emotions?
I think it's really important for a writer to understand that every character is not you, but every character is of you.
Mm.
And so when somebody says to me, "Oh, that character in that book, that's you, isn't it?" I say, "No, that's not me, but it's of me." And I think once you do that, what you're really saying is, I can let the character be who the character is, and not worry about people going, "Oh, that's you. You're the one that's the weirdo. You're the one that has." No, but it certainly is of me. And once you reach that point where you can say, "Every character is of me," then I think you allow that character to be free to whatever they are, whatever they really are. Um, and I think that's really important. I was talking with somebody the other day, and he had read The World Played Chess, and he said there's a scene in there. He said, "I think it's the hardest scene I've ever had to read." And I said, "I know exactly what scene you're talking about." And let me tell you, when I was writing that scene, I had tears streaming down my face because I loved that character. I really loved that character. And for me to kill that character was horrific. It was just terrible. And what I gained from that was, imagine being one of the soldiers in Vietnam, and that's your best buddy. And he's there one moment and he's gone the next. I mean, that just must have been horrific. So I think you just have to step back and accept the fact that every character is of you, but they're not you.
That's really well said, and a very cool way to look at the people you write and the people you put into the world. How or what have you learned about young guys through writing them?
I think probably I've learned more from the fact that I'm not a young guy anymore, but I was a young guy. And I think the difference with guys is there's always a veneer. At some level, there's always a veneer. You have a veneer with your buddies, you have a veneer even with your brothers, and you have a veneer even with your parents. I don't know if you ever completely lose that veneer. I think probably the closest that I've come is probably with my wife, right? My wife really understands and knows who I am after 30 years because she's seen me at my most vulnerable and she's seen me at my most confident. Um, but otherwise, I think, we hold back a little bit. And, and I think when guys read books, I think part of their escape is to read about characters who they can get inside their heads and they can say, "Oh my God, that's how I am. That's how I react. That's what I do." So I think when characters are vulnerable on the page, it allows the reader, especially say young men, it allows those young men to be vulnerable in that moment with that character, which they really don't get a chance to do in real life.